With this 4-chapter run for Burn the Witch, it was a couple days ago. I came up with the kind of idea around the length of the chapters, because even as a mini series, like, it's surprising that all of these are 30 plus pages, and for Burn the Witch to only be 4 chapters was already really weird. It was very strange that it was going to be so short, but I think given the fact that we already have a lot of setup and information that's now in this world, like, we're finding out about, like, how this side of the Bleach universe, like, how on this side of the planet, how their whole soul cycle goes through. Because obviously, like, what happens to souls in over in the Japan, they become hollows and stuff, and over in Europe they become dragons, and there's like different kinds of them and stuff, that some are good and some are bad, and then some of the good ones just seem to do like little functions. I'm actually curious about that. Like, I wonder if some of whatever function your soul becomes as a good dragon does have something to do with you in real life. Like, if you're one of those little potted plant ones, were you a gardener? I don't know. I'm hoping little stuff like that gets answered. But the fact that we got like all this council as well, like all these big shots and these some of these like really, really important like big people in their world, obviously something probably like the captains over in Bleach or over in Japan. I was wondering, like, why would all this information, like, there's a lot of stuff here to process if this series is only supposed to be 4 chapters. And then I thought about the chapter length, and I think that Kubo potentially is going to make Burn the Witch a monthly. I think it might become a monthly or bi-weekly series. Because one thing is, Kubo has brought up that he misses doing a manga. Like, he talked about after retirement, it was just kind of depressing for him not to be doing something he had been doing for years and years. Like, something that his mind was kind of all structured around. You're an artist and an author. You're gonna, if the thing that you think about on a daily basis, your job is to think of all these new cool characters and powers and ideas and stuff, and you just stop one day, it's probably like super weird. But Kubo wants to do stuff, and I think given his, obviously people like him. If you've seen any of the other mangaka talking about Kubo, they like him. They've all been like a fan of his. From what I've read, like, Kubo seems to be a little bit of a. He seems like he'd be more of kind of like a quiet, maybe like keeps to himself kind of guy. Prefers maybe being alone more than some of the other people. Like, I heard Oda's super friendly, but I just imagining the weird parties. I think that was one of the first things I read about Kubo as like an individual. Is he had like this really awkward interaction with Oda, like when they met in person. But anyway, I don't want to lose track of what I was saying. I think that this series is going to go either bi-weekly or monthly. And I think, given everything, like I said, Kubo's history, the fact that he wants to do manga stuff, the fact that we've already gotten a lot of information over this first volume, that I think that he's setting it up for more. If not, then there's got to be novels. Like, I don't think Kubo's just going to, after the 4th chapter, be like, alright, this storyline's over. There's nothing here. It's like, well, then why did you have all these characters introduced and, like, build up the structure of this area in the world? Like, I feel like if it was just supposed to be, like, a cool adventure somewhere else with different characters, like, there'd be no real point in, other than world building, of showing just, like, oh, their souls do something differently. Like instead of hollows, they become dragons. I just think it would be strange for him just to drop it with nothing. Like, if they decide to keep it in the anime, or he ends up having like a different artist, but he like participates partially in it, kind of like Kiramashima does with 100 Years Quest, something like that. But other than that, I'd be like, maybe he's just gonna go monthly, because I feel like monthly for him would probably go really well. And one thing that actually really would benefit him, in terms of just because he already has Bleach, is you don't have to do nearly as much like world building or structure, because you already have a lot established. You really only have to do like, oh, what's slightly different in this side of the world? Oh, it's still all these soul powers and everything, and they can become monsters, but they just have a different process. And because of that, there's a different, and there's a different society around some of like the people that deal with them. Obviously, like the West branch, is it West or East? The European branch is different than the Japanese branch for the Soul Society, and I think that's really interesting. So, What comes next, again, is still a mystery. But I feel like a monthly or a bi-weekly or continue to the novels or animes is very likely, just based off of, I think, what we've already got so far. I think it'd be much stranger than like if he got if it was like, oh, Kubo, big reveal, then we burn the witch monthly or something, I'd be like, yeah, it makes sense. But if it was just, yeah, he's done, he doesn't want to do anything else with it, that would be the only option I'd be really weirded out with. But anyway, let's get to the actual chapter. I felt like it was just more interesting to talk about that right now, because that was the thing that I came up with, like, as the idea earlier this week, and I think that would be super fun, because I think a lot of people just thought of it, it's like, oh, Kubo is doing this short series, but if Kubo comes back, but it's in a way that both benefits him and his fans, like the fact that, oh, you're still getting content and you're getting world building from Kubo, and obviously because it's being a part of Bleach, so Bleach fans, it's like, and Kubo wouldn't be overworking himself because of his shoulder, and he could also probably train somebody to, you know, be as good of an art, like his style of art at the same time. There could be a lot more beneficial stuff, I think, with a longer release date. Plus, like, he's already clearly gotten like the 30+ page style down in this span of time, because they've been preparing for this a while. But anyway, let's get to the actual chapter. It's been like, what, like 6 minutes? I mean, I think the actual chapter itself wasn't nearly as eventful as, like, because in the idea of it being like a monthly, because I know there's a lot of people listening and be like, wow, what could the series be like if we're getting this every month, getting Kubo every month? I think that would be really cool, because I've always really liked Kubo. I've always really liked his style. I've always really liked Bleach. Like, Bleach is my favorite out of, like, the people say big three. I liked it better when people called it the HST, the Holy Shonen Trinity, which obviously I guess makes sense why they would have a different name, because Shonen instead, it wasn't just Shonen Jump. But anyway, talking about, like, just Kubo's stuff in general, I think is really fun. And I think the fact that it takes place in the Bleach world makes it a lot more fun. Like, I wish it would have been cool if Samurai 8, like, existed in the same universe as Naruto. It's just, like, somewhere off in deep space. That'd be a sick crossover. But anyway, like, you have this dude, Bruno. He looks pretty cool. I like Kubo's kind of, like, asshole-ish characters, just because usually when you have a lot of mangaka and you have those, like, Blood Knights or way more aggressive characters like that, it's usually because it's going to be like, oh, this is the guy out of, like, whichever bad guy group ends up losing first. So they just kind of give them this whole personality of, like, oh, they rushed into battle or something. But whereas, like, Kubo likes to keep some of these dudes around. Like, obviously Grimjow is the best example of that. I think a lot of people love Grimjow. He's just one of the most liked characters, I would imagine, in Bleach. At least over in the West, like, everybody seems to love Grimjow. But anyway, this dude Bruno, pretty cool looking. I like him. I like that they introduce, like, some of these guys can have, like, a dragon summons on top of their abilities already. You know, their magic, and, you know, this guy's obviously, like, way more physically advanced and his power than some of these guys. But this guy Rickenbacker looks pretty cool. Like, it's a pretty simple design. I think the four wings make it. I think the four sharp wings give it, like, a very interesting kind of, like, aspect to its appeal, because you know, in this chapter we see, like, them moving and, like, going at you know, getting away from Bruno and Rickenbacker, and then there's that panel where he just kind of, like, scrapes in. He's clearly very fast, and it's not just like, oh yeah, he did some fast move. Clearly this dragon and him are gonna emphasize on speed. I think that much is obvious, not only based off the scene, but at the design. Because one thing that people have said to me, because Burn the Witch has, you know, it's going to have a lot of dragons, is I always make the joke of something like, if something doesn't have dragons, then it's already losing points as a series to me. Or, like, you know, whenever somebody recommends a series, I ask how many dragons there are. It's both a bit of a meme and just, I love dragons in general. I think dragons are badass just in the idea of them alone, and usually their designs. And I like the ones we saw earlier in Burn the Witch, because they were, some of the earlier ones were more of, like, the cool ones were like Nightmare Fuel, like the one from the one shot, and then the one that the one girl that has a crush on Nini, whatever her name is, her dragon also looked very creepy. But this one just looks way more kind of like closer to a traditional dragon. But I do want to comment on the dragon forms as they show up. And I should have done that in the last one when we talked, when the weird looking one was there, the weird almost bird looking dragon. This one though I'm going to comment on because I do love dragon designs, and I think not only does the whole speed panel work really well for it, I think the fact that the wings are sharply shaped like that are flat, they're almost like wings on like a jet. And the extra set, I think, gives it a little bit more of like a slick, probably like way faster maneuver kind of dragons. Because I imagine, you know, obviously the way that their wings are angled and how, you know, birds and obviously how all they kind of like function. When you have a dragon, having that extra set in the back probably can make like sharp turns and quick moves way more like on point and way more accurate. And the fact that on top of that is design. Like the fact that his design, you don't really see scales on him. It's like one smooth color, I think, gives it that extra tone to being like a, emphasizing on its speed. And then you look at like the spikes on its tail as well. It has this whole layout of a like slick, nimble, silently moving kind of, well, maybe not silent, but just like low sound. Like, it's like this silent predator of dragons. Like, literally just imagine you took a stealth bomber and then, like, said, hey, redesign that as a dragon. That's just the kind of zone that it gives me. It's really, really cool. And it's, again, simplistic, but to a point that it really benefits where I think its theme is. And I think that's really good. I do like that about it. I think that Kubo did really well on this. Because this is closer to like a trying to draw a, you know, hey, an actual dragon versus a weird creature that is like it's kind of a, you can just put dragon on something, but like I said earlier, the more nightmare fuelish ones, you know, the ones you'd see in Bloodborne, something like that, versus this is good. I do like it. I think it's a pretty solid dragon. I would give it like a 7.5, maybe an 8. It just, I really like the fact that its design also plays into seemingly what's going to be its big thing with like how fast it is. So they're going after Balgo. Like the characters just the whole time were not really. It was mostly like, get the fuck away from this guy. Like, we need to escape this dude Bruno after going after Balgo, and you know, they're gonna try and he's gonna try and take him out, but not really gonna work. Obviously, they're gonna have to overcome him and stop him from, you know, taking their friend or just eradicating him altogether. But yeah, I don't know. It's weird because like I thought about this chapter like going over it, but really the biggest thing I wanted to talk about was like, hey, I think this dude's design is cool. He's neat, and I like his dragon design. Like I said, the dragon itself, the overall design, it's like, okay, cool. It's pretty normal. It's pretty simple. But I think the key small features to it make it pretty good. I definitely think it's pretty good. But anyway, other than that, no, comment below. I like how majority of this was, hey, what if this is monthly, and then like pretty much the rest of it is me just doing a dragon commentary and how my opinions on this whole design. But anyway, comment below. I stuttered there right at the end, right near the finish line. But anyway, other than that though, comment below, thumbs up the video, but for the like button, subscribe button, and check out my other videos. But other than that, I appreciate everyone who's already subscribed, and I thank you all for listening. Bye.